massive thank you to Oz, Bale, Clay, Lee and Pedro for subscribing to the channel. If you're not already featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 19 of season 3 of the F1 22 My Team career mode. Yesterday we're here at the US Grand Prix, of course 4 races to go, including this one today between now and the end of the year, and the title fight. Yeah, if you missed Japan, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Valtteri Bottas is looking pretty formidable at the top of the championship as we head into this weekend. However, as you can currently see on your screens, we have got 4 major chassis upgrades that are hopefully coming in this weekend. This is kind of our last Hail Mary. We're going to try and jump back to the top of the field and hopefully then close up some points on Valtteri Bottas. Heading into this weekend, the gap at the top, 50 points, between myself and the Flying Finns. So we're going to need a miracle in the last few Grand Prix this year if we want to try and close up those points. But, you know, crazier things have happened in the world of Formula 1 before. If we can just keep trying to outscore him, then we can try and get closer and closer and just see what happens by the end of the year. But even more shocking than that, though, we've just had a new message come through on the team. Lewis Hamilton, after taking 6 months out of the start of this year, he's given up with Formula 1 come the end of the season. So we're going to have to be trying to hire someone else then ready for Season 4 of this career mode. Lewis Hamilton, it's not like he's taken a sabbatical. This is genuinely the end of the road for the 7-time Formula 1 World Champion. I think he's accepted now that title number 8 isn't going to come. He's lacked a bit of pace since joining 212 Motorsport, but fingers crossed he can finish the year on a high. But yeah, we've got plenty to go through though before we head towards Austin this weekend, so let's just make sure that we get all of those chassis upgrades on the card correctly there, earn a few more R&D, everything like that, and there we go. 4 more upgrades. It should bring us right to the top of the sport, and there we go. Now we've got a little bit of an edge over the likes of McLaren and Mercedes once more there. So that's exactly what we need as we head into the final few races. They're going to cost us a lot of R&D points though to get these upgrades sorted, so there's still plenty of work to do in the last couple of weekends of this season. But yeah, let's get out there then. US Grand Prix time. We've pretty much got a maxed out car now on F1 22, but 50 points to Bottas. We need to be in another league these final few Grand Prix. Well, here we are then, back at the Circuit of the Americas. 4 races to go of this season, and yeah, we have kind of accepted we do need a bit of a miracle throughout these last few Grand Prix, but those chassis upgrades should give us a big hand. Of course, we've been fighting not exactly on a level playing field up to this point against Valtteri Bottas, and now the tables have turned, and theoretically we're still not on a level playing field, but it is in my favour at the moment. Of course, chassis upgrades, I think some people tend to misunderstand why they're so useful on the F1 games. Of course, aero, you know, makes you go through the corners a lot faster. Power, drivetrain, powertrain even I should say, of course just makes you faster down the straights. Chassis is a lot more about consistency, you know, if you get some big chassis upgrades on a car, it feels more raceable, it feels more predictable at the end of the day, and of course it's, yeah, often a little bit forgotten about on the F1 games, but very important when you're really trying to fight with a car towards the front of the field. So it feels pretty good so far this weekend, but then again, often if you get a good car setup around Austin, it can be quite a fun little circuit. And of course the other thing chassis upgrades massively help with is in fact tyre wear. Because the car is more predictable, just means it's a whole lot easier to manage the tyres around a lap, and that's going to mean first run, purple score to kickstart the weekend. One thing sadly we still can't control though on F1 22 is just how rapid will this qualifying sim run time be. As we get out of the final corner, how many tenths are we going to lose before we get to turn 1? I mean, this car isn't horrendous down the straights, and it's only 2 tenths this time. But then the AI just go mega through the corners as well. That's not going to do me any favours, but half a second down out of turn 1. They desperately, I know I say it every weekend, it's featured, but it's got to be improved. I mean, this lap has actually felt pretty tidy around Kota, but we're still going to be about 2.5 seconds down by the time we get round to the start-finish line. So the game reckons we should be on, what, a 1 minute 30.9. Of course, this is FP1, remember. How much quicker than pole do we think a 1:30.9 is going to be? let's find out. Let's jump into qualifying. Formula 1 is finally back in 2022, and now you can rep your favourite teams. Of course, using the F1 store, every team now has merch lineups available, whether you're an Aston Martin fan, a Williams fan, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, the choice is completely up to you. But yeah, check out the F1 merch store down below for all the official releases from all of the teams. And of course, as always, if you use our links as well, you massively help support the channel. So yeah, give it a look and see if there's anything you like. Here we are then, qualifying day from Austin, Texas, and sadly, for whatever reason on F1 22, the qualifying time is horrendous around this circuit. I know I say it every time, but look at that. What are you meant to do with that around this track there? Is that the final corner though? Got to admit, this car now is really looking fast. Yeah, we made it into Q2 on a set of the medium compound tyres on a lap that didn't feel particularly great, so Hamilton was fastest in Q1. As much as I want to see him get a win between now and the end of the year, of course, just try and get that one last one to cap off what has been an incredible career. We might need all four of them still against Valtteri Bottas, so we'll wait and see what happens between ourselves and Lewis in these last few Grand Prix. But that's not going to do me any favours though. In Q1, just kiss the wall. Who's going to fly past me? I don't know actually. They were far too quick. Right, well, we'll try it again then. We'll go back out on the same set of tyres we used on my first run. Lewis Hamilton just up in front, so luckily we've got a car to chase, and hopefully not a car that's going to screw me. What is it as well with Cota? And extremely easy to lock the front tyres. I don't know, I'm running exactly the same brake pressure as I always do, but Cota, it's always really difficult on the fronts. Around in the final couple of corners then, laps felt pretty good for the most part, just trying to attack the curb through those final couple of corners up towards start-finish line. It's going to be a 32.4, so only 6th there. I don't think Hamilton got a particularly good lap in either. We are mega through the final sector, but losing a little bit of time elsewhere on the lap. Okay. Right, coming to the end then of Q2, we're just going to go out for one extra run here. I mean, we've got 2 sets of tyres for Q3 anyway, so if we make it through, of course that is. So we haven't really got any reason not to risk it here at the end of Q2, and we'll just see, try and get a good lap on the board that we can try and emulate in Q3. Like I said, we didn't really need to do this final run in Q2, but may as well just try and get our eye in ready for the final session there, and we are finding more and more time as the lap unfolds. One lap qualifying pace hasn't always been my strong point this year. Only had a couple of pole positions to our name, but round in the final corner, it's quite nice and settled. Just one more turn to go, launch it over the inside curve as best as possible. That might be fastest at the end of Q2. Yes, it is. That's promising. A 31.7 is a very, very fast time. Go then, end of Q2, and we are fastest there by 1/10.5 over Valtteri Bottas, so this is very promising as we prepare ourselves for Q3. No major surprise. I guess Daniel Ricciardo out in Q2 is quite a disappointment there, but look at Mercedes, 8th and 9th at the moment. It's a long way away from where we saw at the weekend, in real life that is. Right, here we are then, Q3 from the Lone Star State of Texas, and to be honest, these final 4 races, we've kind of got to go a bit like Lewis Hamilton did in the final few races of 2021. Fresh components on the car, new components as well, should give us the performance edge, and let's just see if we can try and fight back for a World Championship from behind. Sweat mode is well and truly going to have to be enabled, not only for qualifying laps, but pretty much, yeah, for all 4 weekends. We never quite know how good a first lap is until you cross the line, but this one's felt pretty tidy. We head through the final corner up towards that checker flag. 32.1 only puts us P4 at the moment, but quicker than Bottas and certainly a lot better than what we did at Suzuka. Yeah, Hamilton's just decided to put in a 31.2, so I don't think we're going to be able to get pole here at Cota, but Sergio Perez on a 131.7. We just need to find a few more tenths to get closer to the Mexican. curb through that penultimate corner, but we'll get away with it this time round. One more turn to go. We are going to improve by about 4/10. It's good enough for P2. We'll take it. That was probably all we could sensibly get here at Austin. Hamilton is in another league. There we go then. That's exactly what we want to see. Lewis Hamilton back on pole once more. He's always gone well around COTA. Half a second clear of myself there at the end of qualifying. But like I said, I think that's just our second front row lockout of the year after the Monaco Grand Prix. Checo P3 just 18 thousandths back ahead of George Russell and Valtteri Bottas here. So this is a golden opportunity. The fight is still on. Let's get into it. US Grand Prix. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself, 14 miles southeast of the city centre, has been home to the US Grand Prix since 2012, the latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. It's the Circuit of the Americas then, situated 14 miles outside of the great city of Austin. This is a 3.6 mile lap with 20 corners, 10 to the left and 10 to the right, and top speeds of around 200 miles per hour. Overtaking opportunities are available into turns 1 and 12, especially with that rear wing DRS wide open. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Mr. Monaco completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Perez, Russell, Valtteri Bottas and Joe, Verstappen, Ocon, Latifi and Lando Norris, Drugovich, Mick Schumacher, Pierre Gasly and Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, Alex Albon and Kevin Magnussen, Ticktum, Ricciardo, Schwartzman and Yuki Tsunoda. And now it's time to head down to the track. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
We're still second to Bottas, but you're still in a position to claim the Drivers' Championship. Give it your best shot, mate.
Yep, we are not going to give up on this one until right at the bitter end there. But Valtteri Bottas still leads the way, 50 points the gap as we head to COTA. But we're starting ahead of him. The Flying Finn stuck in a bit of traffic potentially as well early on in this Grand Prix. But we've got Lewis Hamilton alongside us. Of course, hasn't scored points in any of the last 3 races. He's really had a torrid time in that second car since Monza. But we need wins, and maybe, just maybe, we'll try and get some team orders involved for this weekend. But 28 laps ahead of us, though, at this Austin circuit. Like I said, our focus still remains the same. Just outscore Bottas every single weekend by as many points as we possibly can. Bottas is what I dub in complete control of his own destiny. If he's to finish just behind me every Grand Prix, he will be world champion. That's all he has to do. We are relying on a miracle. Well, if ever there was a day where I wanted to try and get a good start in a Grand Prix, I think today is certainly going to be right up there here at COTA. If we could try and get a launch on Hamilton, it would be very, very handy. But yeah, I mean, Lewis, like I said, he'll want to try and get wins between now and the end of his Formula 1 career. We've got a World Championship to fight for. Will our teammate play ball? We definitely don't want it descending into what's happened to Red Bull in recent weeks in real-life Formula 1. But lining up then on the front row of the grid, not often do we say that still in this career mode. Purple score. Just waiting, I think it's Yuki Tsunoda this weekend who rounds out the grid order, but Bottas 5th, myself in P2. We need 12 points out of him every single race between now and the end of the year. And of course, we've also got a sprint race in Brazil that could prove pivotal in this championship. It's going to be lights out and away we go. A little bit of wheel spin in second gear there as Perez and George Russell will rocket away up towards turn 1. We're going to try and keep that inside of the murk. Oh, plenty of contact between myself and George Russell there. Clearly, turn 1 at Austin is not his favourite place in the world, but we will just lose the one spot then off the start in this Grand Prix, which, to be honest, based on my standards, isn't bad going. Looks like Zhou Guanyu has got the jump on Valtteri Bottas as well further back, so that is massively helpful for us in the bigger picture here, but got to try and get the tyres up temperature early on here at Corsa as Bottas and Zhou still battling out further back. I do find it quite funny, still even now, that they've both gone from Alfa Romeo over to McLaren. But yeah, as we head down through the hairpin on this opening lap, Hamilton, of course, will just want to try and break free at the front of the order, as yeah, looks like Bottas has comfortably slotted himself back up into P5 then. But we need Red Bull and Mercedes to come to our aid in these final few races of the campaign. We also need Hamilton to try and play ball as well, as we thread our way down through the middle sector of this opening lap. Sergio Perez there already trying to push that Red Bull. Of course, won last weekend out at Suzuka, now actually third place in the Drivers' World Championship after Verstappen's year has completely unravelled in the final few Grand Prix there. Verstappen was a big championship threat right the way throughout until about Monza, and then since then, a bit like Lewis Hamilton, has barely scored any points. But around in the final corner of this car now, these chassis upgrades, it just fires up. Look at that immediately on the offensive on Sergio Perez. They're at the final corner, and as we start lap 2, we're back into P2 then of this Grand Prix. Sergio's going to try and look back around the outside at turn 1, and we will say absolutely not. And yeah, this thing now is starting to finally feel like a proper, well-rounded and well-balanced race car. As Lewis Hamilton 1.3 seconds clear. A little bit of second guessing ourselves through the first sector, but it's so nice to have a car that just turns on and immediately is fast. I think George Russell, though, might have picked up a bit of damage in that turn 1 contact between ourselves and our fellow Brit there. He's under a lot of pressure from Valtteri Bottas, and the top 3 are just pulling away early on in this GP. Got to be really careful of those sausage curbs on the exit there. Do not want to hit those if we can avoid it. But yeah, Hamilton not pulling away from me. This is promising, but we are still only on lap 2 of a 28-lap Grand Prix. There we go then, lap 3. We have got the DRS on Lewis Hamilton, but look at the gap we're already pulling away from Sergio Perez behind there. Russell is still hanging on ahead of Bottas, but I don't think that's going to last much longer as we head out onto this straight. But we're just closing up to the back of Lewis Hamilton. We'll see now if Russell will lose the place to Valtteri. I think he's gone defensive on him. So a little bit of front lock in there, still struggling really badly with the fronts this weekend. But Bottas will have the inside as we head through the S's there, and it looks like he will move up now into P4 of this Grand Prix. So he's going to be in hot pursuit then of Sergio Perez here. But this is how you make a statement early on at the US GP. Hamilton and I are waltzing away from the rest of the grid, unless of course they know something we don't about the tyres. Of course we do need to try and get past Lewis early on in this race to make sure that we've got the strategy and we can pick when we want to pit in this race. But let's just see if we can get the run down the back straight away here. Lewis Hamilton won't go defensive, but we won't quite have enough this time round. We've got to be very, very careful, of course, because we've got to think bigger picture. You know, we could still, if this car is this fast, we could still close it to Red Bull by the end of the year of the Constructors' Championship if they keep having nightmares. But plenty can happen. And Zhou Guanyu now trying to make a move on George Russell as well. But I think this time round, our fellow Brit has hung on, as this car is just so fast early on in this race. We're a second a lap faster than anyone else. I knew coming into these last few Grand Prix, these last chassis upgrades were going to have to be a Hail Mary attempt to bring this car comfortably to the front of the grid, but I didn't expect it to work out this well so early. Let's see if we can get a run on Hamilton back into turn 1. Again, won't quite be close enough. Just got to sit close on the exit of the S's, and also don't do that at turn 1. Big mistake. It's going to leave us squabbling for a few more laps. Dan ticked him out of the Grand Prix already. Exactly sure that's going to affect us much this afternoon, but yeah, Alfa Romeo still seemingly struggling with reliability, as that's almost us doing a pirouette through turn 1. We have closed back up to Lewis, but getting round him is going to be a whole lot more challenging than I'd ever hoped. Hamilton is going to race this one. See this time around though if we can get a run on our teammate as we head up the back straight. Hamilton aware of us this time. He's going to go defensive to the outside of Lewis Hamilton. He tries to give me a big old squeeze, or we try to get underneath him. Whoa, Lewis Hamilton really getting the elbows out late on in this final season of his in Formula 1, and then lifts out of it through the next corner. So very, very weird antics. Now he's going to try and get the nose back up the inside, but we do make the move work, and we do inherit the lead then of the Grand Prix. I wonder if he just got a quick message from someone in the team go, remember what's at stake still in the bigger picture, and thought, yeah, probably I should back out of this one. But up into the lead we go then of the US Grand Prix. 8 laps in, we're 10 seconds clear of Valtteri Bottas in P4. McLaren are surely going to have to bring an answer to this next weekend in Mexico, because this is just absolutely incredible to drive. It's a bit on a knife edge on the brakes, but apart from that, this car is wonderful. And as we inch closer and closer then towards our pitting lap, Lewis Hamilton, the gap just opening up ever so slightly there, but Bottas is definitely taking time at Checo Perez further back. Of course, the other thing I've got to remember is we could really do with some fastest lap bonus points as well about these last few GPs. They're a little bit more difficult to get, because generally the AI seem to get unlimited ERS at the final lap or so of Grand Prix, but I mean currently we've got the fastest lap. Let's just hope the hard tyres don't work particularly well for anyone, but that no one also tries to do 2 sets of softs. Right, but at the moment I'm hoping that Checo Perez can defend like a lion from Valtteri Bottas a little bit further away. Gap's still about half a second there. Maybe Checo's just got enough down the straights, but yeah, we're going to box probably the end of next lap. 3.3 ahead of Hamilton now, should give us a good margin of safety, whether he under or overcuts us, but still just trying to keep our head down and focus. Oh no, there we go, Bottas first one into the pits at the first runners then, so Valtteri there did briefly jump Checo Perez. It's actually a little cheeky strategy you can use on F122 in racing. You can jump into the pit lane on the final lap if you're stuck behind someone and actually gain a place from it, but I didn't tell you that. We're going to come into the pits though at the end of this one and bolt on a set of hard compound tyres as well. To be honest, the tyre wear's been pretty good. Oh, got more yellow flags out though. Someone's going slowly. I think it's Haas car. No, it might be an Alpine, or it might be no one at all. Everyone seems to still be going, so we won't worry about that too much then, as Bottas goes to show just how much George Russell has held everyone else up. Bottas has still re-emerged in P5 here. 35 seconds back after 14 laps. We're 3 seconds a lap faster than a lot of those cars behind him. The pits we must come though at the end of lap 14. Half a race on the softs, half a race on the mediums. It's not a bad strategy here as we head into the pits, just to get the car slowed down where we need it. So Lewis Hamilton then will re-inherit the lead of the Grand Prix. I'd imagine we're probably going to see Sergio into the box though as well at the end of this lap, as there we go, optimal turning point for us. Let's just try and make sure we get a good tidy stop then here at Austin. 2.4 is very good going. Zhou Guan Yu is going to dive into the pit lane as well. Steady on that. Don't want to light up the rears too badly, and we re-emerge then P2 of this Grand Prix. 14 seconds behind Lewis, but we've got to try and get temperature into these tyres. Will Bottas get the jump on Sergio Perez a little bit further back? Perez, of course, won't have dealt with the cold tyres just yet. Looks like Bottas might still get around the outside of him back at turn 1, and Valtteri Bottas now is the car directly behind me in this Grand Prix, albeit 18 seconds back. So there we go, Hamilton into the pits then at the end of lap 15. Very, very good and effective first stop here, able to just go that little bit extra on the tyres, as that was a little bit, again, cheeky through the penultimate corner there. Struggled to quite spot your apex and your turn-in point. But yeah, we are going to re-emerge then in the lead of this race. Bottas now just putting distance on Sergio Perez behind, but Hamilton will be comfortably in P2 here. So let's hope Lewis, and he shouldn't be under pressure from his former teammate between now and the end, but all I can hope is Checo can try to apply pressure to Valtteri. Not convinced, but a boy can dream. 13 laps still to go here from Austin. There we go, new fastest lap of the day, 1:33.7. Should hopefully be enough to net us the bonus point, but yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to find much more than that without really destroying a set of hard tyres. 11 to go here from Austin. I apologise, it might not be the most exciting race in the world to watch, but for us, this is absolutely critical if we want any chance of this World Championship. These upgrades had to work, and work they absolutely are. As again, purple through the first sector. Might we find a bit more pace? Oh, more yellow flags out. Someone else going slowly at the moment. Is this now a Haas car in the Grand Prix? I think it is. So not what Haas will want in their home race there. Felipe Drugovich out of the US Grand Prix, and really for us, we do not want a safety car here at Austin, Texas, but I think we're going to get away with it once more. It's always the case of if one car goes off, normally you're alright. If another one causes more yellow flags, then you get more serious issues. But again, we were purple through the first sector, so we're certainly not slowing down, particularly late on in the day, but yeah, we just can't quite find the pace we need as poor old Felipe Drugovich has started to find a little bit more in recent weeks, often seeing both cars back into Q2 again, but clearly not finding more reliability. Oh, 12 thousandths away from another new fastest lap of the day, so clearly the tyres have not fallen off just yet, but this is something I've completely forgotten about, that we'd have to deal with in this Grand Prix, and not something that we've really had to deal with at all on F1 22, and that is lap traffic, of course. Generally, the slowest cars have actually kept pretty good pace with the fastest ones on F1 22. Schwartzman, that was scary. I had no idea where the Alfa Romeo was going to go there for a brief second, but yeah, as I was saying, of course, generally speaking, you know, the likes of Haas, Aston Martin, Williams have actually done a pretty good job of sort of keeping up in terms of... Mick? What is going on with this lap traffic there? Mick Schumacher's just dived and literally moved me out of the way down at the hairpin. We do not need to be dealing with that sort of thing late on in this championship, as are we now going to be able to get a run and have a look back at the inside of Mick Schumacher? Yes, we absolutely will, but I've never had that before from the AI, and he's going to use it to the best of his ability there, because he's going to jump Kevin Magnussen as well. Here, Gasly, one more lap car that we're probably going to have to deal with him, maybe Lance Stroll a bit further up the road, but as I was trying to say though, fingers crossed Pierre Gasly won't scare me again on this lap. Thank you very much, Pierre, he's a bit wiser, a bit older and knows what he's doing, but yeah, because of course the back markers, been able to keep up pretty well actually with the rest of the field. It's not really ever been something, unless someone has a nightmare weekend, that any team has had to deal with on F1 22, but of course this car is just so fast at the moment that yeah, we might actually have to deal with lap traffic in the final few races, and if they're all going to act like Mick Schumacher, we could be in a world of hurt. Sit rep though, 4 laps to go with this Grand Prix, 8.5 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton, still behind us, 25 clear of Valtteri Bottas, who has opened up the gap to Sergio Perez behind him. So yeah, Bottas looks like he will round out the podium this weekend unless something goes badly wrong for him towards the end. And if he were to keep doing that between now and the end of the year, depending on how fast his lap bonus points work out, I think he would still, of course, mathematically crown himself champion. Even if he was losing 11 points a weekend, that'd be 44, plus another 3 for the sprint race in Brazil, and that is if we got fastest laps. So we'd only close up 47 points, but we are making a lot of brave assumptions there. Let's just get it to the flag though today, and this has certainly been a turning point. When I thought all hope was lost after Suzuka, there's a bit of renewed confidence once more. And thank you very much, Sir Lancelot. We will now move up. No, we're not. Oi! Lance Stroll, I can just see him in the rearview mirror. What is it with the AI? Clearly, because we haven't had to deal with lap traffic much on F1 22, they don't know how to operate. Round in the final corner then to start the last lap here of the US Grand Prix. And what a turnaround this has been. I know it's still very, very unlikely, But weekends like this just give you that confidence that anything might still be possible. Could have really done with those chassis upgrades back at Suzuka, I'm well aware, but you know what, we'll absolutely take it still. The fact they're on the car now, and it's worked, that's the far more important thing. You know, we could have quite easily brought these upgrades, and the car still could have been, you know, battling, trying to claw on to the McLaren late on in the campaign. But yeah, McLaren are going to have to go back to the drawing board and try and find anything in these final few races of the season. We've almost lapped the Ferraris. We're meant to be in a Constructors' Championship battle with them at the moment. I feel like both of their cars have had a nightmare weekend, however, but yeah, surely now we can try and look towards Red Bull and McLaren in front of us in these dying stages of the season. 30 seconds clear almost of our big rival Valtteri Bottas at the end of the day, and it's not been down to luck or strategy, it has just been down to raw car pace. The Hamilton had the edge on Saturday, but I quietly, confidently felt like come Sunday, often our race pace has been a bit better than the 7-time world champion. Of course, announced his retirement at the start of the weekend. He's loved COTA, he's always gone so well around here, and he will return to the rostrum once more again. But 11 points we're going to take out of Bottas in the championship. It is not over until the fat lady sings, and she certainly has not started the chorus yet. We're going to win the US Grand Prix.
Absolutely fantastic. That is a brilliant, brilliant result. Well done.
So after a day of mixed fortunes up and down the field, we bring today's race to a close. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out of the track was: speed. It sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
A show-stopping performance from the three drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure. So let's review the drivers' standings. The gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race today for our championship leader. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
Daniel Ricciardo certainly impressed me today. An incredible performance.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, there we are then, the end of the US Grand Prix. We didn't quite get pole position, but fastest lap and race victory, 26 points on the board. That is exactly what we need as we head into these final few Grand Prix there. GG's to Hamilton as well, means I think that is just, yeah, our second 1-2 of the year as well, after the Monaco Grand Prix. And yeah, Hamilton, that's just a nice start to his retirement mini-campaign throughout these final 4 Grand Prix there. Bottas recovered to P3, did as best as he could this weekend. We were just in another league there ahead of Perez and Zhou Guanyu. Max Verstappen a disappointing 6th ahead of Ocon. Latifi beat Russell. I don't know how it happened, but it's happened, and we're going to have to accept that now as a reality there. And Oscar Piastri picked up a solid point for AlphaTauri as well. They're just ahead of Albon and both Ferraris. Further down the order, just Tiktum and Drugovic not making it to the checkered flag this weekend means championship-wise, we are now 39 back from Bottas. 3 races to go plus a sprint. Like I said, it's not impossible. but we're going to need a miracle still in these final few races there. We should be comfortable, though, ahead of Sergio Perez in P3 in the championship there. The gap up to 35 points ahead of the Red Bull car. What we got now, 51-point lead over Max Verstappen. Crazy to think it was just a few weekends ago that we jumped him again in the championship. Further down the order, Nicholas Latifi jumps Yuki Tsunoda. Oscar Piastri, like I said, gets more points on the board. Means constructors-wise, we're just 80 points back behind Red Bull now. That sounds like a lot, but if we can continue to take sort of 40 points a weekend and Red Bull are getting 15 or 20, that might not be over just yet. I mean, McLaren is still going to be trying to take points out of them as well. It could really end up with a three-way constructors scrap as we head towards Abu Dhabi. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will return very, very soon. We'll head to Mexico next weekend. We got a lot of confidence behind us once more. Let's see how long we can try and drag this out to the bitter end. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.